We are back on the Morning Brew with friends. We got a full couch this morning. I love this. And we are here with Dr. Wadip Arap, your Deputy Director of the UNM Cancer Center at the UNM Cancer Center. And I love this. You guys are doing some really amazing cancer research right now.
It's an amazing place, and we are doing an incredible amount of work. I'm here now for 2 years as part of a large team. And we had just a very interesting work that was published on prostate cancer, which is, of course, a big problem for men.
Right.
There's some estimates that 1 in 6 men will have it, so it's
right.
very important.
I'm getting to that age where I got to start getting my exams, I guess. Right? But how did you get interested in prostate cancer, and what was your new paper about?
Well, it's very interesting because the challenge is really to see who we need to treat, really, and who we should dutifully ignore.
There's like some prostate cancers you don't have to worry about?
Most of them, probably.
Oh, really?
Exactly, because you see, incidental prostate cancers, we know that if you do just random biopsies in people 70 or 80 years old, many of them will have cancers they will never find.
Right.
But some of them will kill you. So
okay.
How do you differentiate the
right.
ones that you really need to treat versus not? So there's this test called PSA, prostate-specific antigen, that people use since the mid-'80s.
Right, I've heard about it, yeah.
Everybody does it, and the screen is a bit controversial, but people do it. Now, there's a new test called PCA3, which is not a blood test, it's a urine test. Mm-hmm. So it's less invasive, and it was discovered in 1999. So what our work did was to find out the function of this particular marker. It's not only a marker, but it's also promoting cancer by sabotaging a new tumor suppressor gene that we discovered.
Oh, very cool. Well, this is the thing. We had some of the other doctors on from the Cancer Center a couple weeks ago.
That is correct.
And they were talking about the personalized medicine and really doing the genomic testing. Is that
correct.
Part of where your research came from?
It is absolutely part of it. This particular marker is an RNA, is a small piece
small part of DNA.
Acid. Yes. Yeah. And this particular gene that is the tumor suppressor gene has a funny name. It's called prun2 because it comes from Drosophila fruit flies. Mm-hmm. The flies that have this particular gene, they have these beady black eyes, like prunes. So that's why the human equivalent is called prun2. So
that's pretty cool.
Those things.
So is this one of the things now that we are on the frontier at UNM of being able to solve cancer? Is this this particular cancer?
Well, it's an incremental process, of course, and this is an early translational research, but we hope that in 3 to 5 years we'll have a better test for prostate cancer based on this discovery. And we also may have a new target for intervention, because if we can kill this particular marker and revive the tumor suppressor function early on, this would be a potential new treatment for prostate cancer. And this is brand new.
That's very cool. So this is the kind of thing, maybe in 5, 10 years, how long would we be seeing this? Like, if I could go to my doctor, how long until I would be looking at this kind of treatment?
You can get a PCA3 test today. It's FDA approved. It's part of the clinical routine. Whether we're going to have a treatment based on this, I would say 5 years. Dr. Lauer, who's our Chief Medical Officer at the Cancer Center, and we have a large team of 25, 30 people working on this, urologists, radiation oncologists, the lab people. And we're planning the new steps of treatment to see if we can translate this into treatments.
That's very cool. So I love it when the Cancer Center folks come on, because you guys are always doing this amazing stuff. But how far are we really from understanding the mystery of cancer? I mean, is it, with the genetic testing and everything now, it seems like that's been the giant leap that we needed for years, right?
I think it's, I mean, from the time I was in medical school.
Which was when?
Oh, we're not going to go there. But I tell you this, I remember walking people in the emergency room with back pain, obstruction, edema, prostate cancer. We have no way to tell. So, and today, most tumors that we find are the size of a grain of rice.
Wow.
So it's been an incredible journey to the decade.
So how far are we to the point where we will be able to take a pill and get rid of cancer? I mean, is that still 100 years off, or is that something that really in our lifetime we could see?
That's an excellent question. If I were a betting man, I would bet I'm not going to see it.
Oh, really?
But then again, I'm an oncologist, therefore, by definition, I'm an optimist.
How did you get interested in prostate work?
Well, my family has a bunch of urologists, so I grew up sort of in the business. And then I realized...
I never thought of urology as a family business.
That's very true. And, but since I'm not a surgeon, they think of me as sort of a lesser prostate cancer guy.
Rather than
he does
the research stuff.
He does the other stuff.
Yeah, we'll let him think for a living.
That is true.
But what is it that's fascinating and interesting about that versus other kinds of cancers? I mean, it is a specific organ, it is a specific gland that has things that are totally different going on than anywhere else in the body, right?
Well, I think prostate cancer has so many angles. First of all, there is the frequency of it as an extremely frequent tumor. Second, thank God, people live a long time with it. And third, it goes to the heart of you as a person. It's much the same way that women with breast cancer, men with prostate cancer, those are gender-specific cancers. So it goes to the heart of who you are as a person, and it's very intimate, the way you relate to patients and the doctors and so on. So it's unique in that sense.
Does it take a special kind of clinical demeanor to work with people?
It does. I think that the level of comfort of physicians, as you know, it's like anything else. There is a broad range of a level of comfort and how do you relate to patients and the like. I mean, but the prostate cancer, breast cancer, those are special ones because of their gender specificity and because of
the personal nature of them.
That's
really,
correct.
Absolutely. So how did you get this published? I mean, this has always been a thing that people say all the time, well, I got this paper published. But it makes it sound pretty easy, but it's really not, is it?
No,
it's a really
this
difficult
is a multi-year,
process.
Multi-year project. Again, we're here for 2 years now. It's been very intensively back and forth with the peer review process. But it's out now, and it's online, and it got some attention.
Very cool. Well, do people call you? Do other researchers call you
do.
and say, hey, what are you doing?
They do, and we established already... Well, it's a global business now, so we have collaborators all over the U.S. and Europe and Latin America. So
very cool.
But we are ground zero for that particular research here at the University of New Mexico Cancer Center.
I love it. And you're originally from Brazil.
Yes.
How did you end up here?
Well, how long you got?
Because I know that in your bio you were at Stanford, you were at several of the universities.
Yes.
And was UNM Cancer Center, did it have a specific draw to you?
It does. I think New Mexico is very unique. First of all, we have a fantastic cancer center director, Dr. Cheryl Willman, who was very fundamental in our decision to come here. And there's also the national laboratories, Sandia and Los Alamos. And we think all the nanotechnology and the engineering that we have in this microenvironment, it's very important. In fact, we just had Friday, 2 days ago, a retreat between the University of New Mexico Cancer Center, Los Alamos National Laboratory, and Sandia National Laboratory.
What did you learn from those guys? That must have been cool, like having all these PhDs in a room.
All these engineers talking about physics, and the idea is that to get all that nanotechnology and do applications against cancer, and we're making lots of headways in that way. Is there runway in that? Can you do something with we are doing it.
That?
We are totally doing it, and with the engineers, and it's development of a common language, which is always the challenge, right?
Right. Well, I know the Cancer Center too is working on several drugs and several patents, trying to get these things out into the real world.
Yes.
Do you think you're going to share in some of that with this research?
Well, the university is very good in protecting the intellectual property and trying to develop biotechnology applications, because that's the way the drugs get developed, of course. And so that didn't escape them.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. We love hearing about all of this stuff. Yes, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds with our buddy Greg Frost, who's going to talk to us about some of the cool stuff going on in the mortgage world on the Morning Brew with Friends.